Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. Dynamite was taped tonight at the HEB Center in Austin, Texas, and the reason why tonight's Dynamite was taped is because the AEW stars are flying overseas to Australia because Grand Slam Australia is this Saturday, and we don't have a time where they're going to air Grand Slam Australia because they said that it would air after the NBA All-Star Game is done on TNT. So whenever the All-Star Game is over, we're going to see Grand Slam Australia on TNT. But it's been weeks since I covered AEW Dynamite. I think it was 3 weeks ago when I reviewed Dynamite. Just haven't reviewed Dynamite because the show is just a chore to watch, and it's a chore to review by how bad the creative is in the company, and there being no stories, no interesting stories, in AEW. But tonight's Dynamite, I thought it was a decent show. Go-home show for Grand Slam Australia. But tonight, we saw Hangman and Page. He had taken on Max Caster in his open challenge. And we also had the AEW World Trios Championship on the line where the Death Riders defended the titles against the Undisputed Kingdom. We had Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata. They had taken on Aaron Solo, John Cruz, and Rosario Grillo. MJF was in action, and he had taken on Dustin Rhodes. We had the in-ring debut of Megan Bayne, which we saw her compete in the Women's Casino Gauntlet match. So this marked her in-ring one-on-one match on AEW television. And she had taken on Maya World. We also had Kris Statlander. She had taken on Penelope Ford. And the main event, we had the AEW World Tag Team Championship on the line where the Hurt Syndicate ended up defending the titles against Austin and Colton Gunn. But overall, Dynamite tonight, it was a decent show for a tape show. But before I get into the review, I just want to, cover these stories that broke out. AEW news. Of course, Ricky Starks and Miro and Malachi Black were released from AEW. And, of course, Ricky Starks we saw appear on NXT last night, which was awesome because they weren't doing nothing with Ricky Starks on AEW television, and I know Ricky Starks wanted out, so it was really awesome to see him on NXT television, and it's going to do good for Ricky Starks. My thoughts when Ricky Starks was released, when that news broke out, I said, he's going to go to WWE and he should go to NXT than the main roster, which that suits better for Ricky Starks. So was glad to see him on NXT television last night. I have faith that they're going to do Ricky Starks good in NXT. And when he comes up to the main roster. And also, Miro got released. They did nothing with Miro. The last time that Miro was on TV was when he beat Andrade at World's End. And that was back in 2023. So, both AEW and Miro, they mutually parted ways. That set the stage for his departure. It was added that both sides have been working towards an exit agreement for some time now. And he had publicly requested his release last September. This is coming from PW Insider. But where Rusev goes, I see him going back to WWE. I see him becoming Rusev again. So that's where probably see, Miro going. And as for Malachi Black, he will be back in WWE under, his name, Aleister Black. And, when he comes back to the company, I see him possibly going to SmackDown, considering his wife, Zelina Vega, is over there. But I have faith in Triple H for him to book Malachi Black, pretty good, since he booked him well when he was in NXT. And when, Malachi, when he was known as Aleister Black in WWE, when he came up to the main roster, they did absolutely nothing with him. They did not know how to book him, and Vince just kept him in a closet. So it was just him cutting promos from a darkened closet. So, when Malachi does sign back with WWE, I have faith in Triple H in booking him well. So, but just wanted to get that news out there on Malachi, Ricky Starks, and Miro's release. And then Bear Bronson ended up issuing a statement because his tag team partner Bear Boulder was arrested in January last month, and his contract was being terminated because of that, where he ended up being charged with domestic battery because he ended up, assaulting his fiance, which that is fucking awful. Yeah, he was arrested on domestic battery by strangulation on his fiance. What a fucking idiot Bear Boulder is. So Bear Bronson took it to Twitter or X and just, did a statement, and he wants to keep out of the issues with, his tag partner Bear Boulder. You could read it on Bear Bronson's Twitter page, where he just issued a statement, and he ended up saying that his phone had been blowing up nonstop because of the news, and he wants away from this, and I don't blame him. So, but just wanted to get that news out as well. So, fuck Bear Boulder. What a piece of shit. Just, strangling his fiance, domestic battery. Bear Boulder, fuck him. But anyway, let's jump right into the review. Dynamite opened up tonight with the Max Caster Open Challenge. Max Caster, of course, calling himself the best wrestler alive. Yeah. Would you consider him the best wrestler alive after losing last week and then losing tonight? So he was in the ring. He called himself Platinum. And he kept saying that he is known as the best wrestler alive. To which the crowd would chant, "You suck." So he kept saying that he is given an opportunity to face the best wrestler alive, for anybody in the back to face him. He kept saying that he ran Billy Gunn and Anthony Bowens out of the company, and that he was the heart of the Acclaimed. So who answered Max Caster's open challenge? Hangman and Page. Page ended up coming through the tunnel. He made his way down to the ring. Caster then bailed out of the ring and jumped over the barricade. Wanted nothing to do with Hangman and Page. He didn't want to face Page. So Page ended up seeing Caster. He leapt over the barricade. He went through the crowd chasing after Max Caster. So Caster ended up coming into the ring, and Page was in the ring as well. The bell rang. Caster ended up taking down Hangman and Page. So we had Page end up getting up. Caster ended up turning things around. Page ended up dropping Caster and then tossed him into the corner. Page then nailed Caster with a sliding lariat. Page then ended up hitting Caster with the big buckshot lariat from the ring apron. He went for the cover on Caster, and pretty much that was that. Hangman Page ended up winning the match. And Caster is now 0-2 in this open challenge that he issues, with him calling himself the best wrestler alive. I wouldn't call yourself the best wrestler alive if you are now 0-2 in open challenges. So, but pretty much basically squash match this was. And then we had the AEW World Trios Championship on the line. We had Pac, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio Castagnoli. They defended the titles against the Undisputed Kingdom of Adam Cole, Bebe, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. And this was a good match, in my opinion, but in the end, it was kind of a useless match because, nothing, big happened in it. So the match ended up getting underway. We had Kyle O'Reilly end up hitting Pac as Roderick Strong and Yuta were exchanging chops to each other. Claudio Castagnoli and Adam Cole were fighting near the barricade. So then Dynamite went to commercial. Then when Dynamite came back from the commercial, Kyle O'Reilly was being triple teamed in the corner by Claudio and Pac and Wheeler Yuta. Pac then tagged in. Pac ended up sending Kyle O'Reilly headfirst to the turnbuckle. Claudio then tagged in. So Claudio and Pac end up kicking Kyle O'Reilly in the corner. Claudio ended up delivering an uppercut to O'Reilly. O'Reilly started to fight back at Claudio. Claudio then ended up hitting O'Reilly and applied a sleeper hold on O'Reilly. O'Reilly ended up trying to fight out of the sleeper hold, and he ended up pushing Claudio, but Yuta ended up coming in. Yuta ended up hitting Kyle O'Reilly. Adam Cole and Roderick Strong came in. The ref ended up holding both Cole and Strong back, which allowed Pac and Yuta to stomp away on Kyle O'Reilly. So Wheeler Yuta then tagged in. He took down Kyle O'Reilly. Yuta then tagged Pac in. Both Pac and Yuta were exchanging elbow strikes. Kyle O'Reilly got up and he took down Pac with a kick. And O'Reilly then tagged in Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong ended up delivering a chop to Pac. And then Strong ended up taking down Claudio. Strong then ended up sending down Wheeler Yuta and slammed him on Pac. Strong then ended up going for the cover on Pac, but Pac ended up kicking out. So Adam Cole was then tagged in. He ended up hitting Pac with the backstabber. Cole ended up going for the cover. Claudio came in to break up the pin. Roderick Strong was then tagged in. Strong ended up hitting Pac with a backbreaker. And the ref was distracted. And that allowed Pac to come back in and take out Roderick Strong. Claudio then tagged in. Claudio ended up hitting Roderick Strong with a backbreaker. Yuta then tagged in and applied a headlock on Roderick Strong. Strong ended up fighting out of the headlock, but it wasn't enough because Yuta then picked up Roderick Strong and slammed him down to the canvas. Yuta then ended up going for the cover on Roderick Strong, but Strong ended up kicking out. So Pac was then tagged in. Pac then ended up delivering a snap suplex to Roderick Strong. Pac then ended up going for the cover on Roderick Strong, but Strong ended up kicking out. We had later on in the match where Strong ended up rolling up Yuta, but Yuta ended up kicking out. Yuta then ended up drop kicking Strong. Yuta then ended up going for the cover on Strong, but Strong ended up kicking out. You had at the end of the match where Claudio ended up getting a chair. And he was then sent to the floor by Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. The ref had his back turned, and he was dealing with the chair that Claudio brought into the ring. And Yuta and O'Reilly were in the ring. Wheeler Yuta then low-blowed Kyle O'Reilly as the ref's back was turned. And Yuta ended up rolling O'Reilly up. So there you go. The Death Riders, Claudio, Pac and Wheeler Yuta end up winning the match, retaining the World Trios Championship. But overall, I thought this was a decent match here, but in the end, it was pretty much a useless match because the Death Riders end up retaining titles because you low blows O'Reilly. Post-match, the Death Riders started to beat down again on Kyle O'Reilly, and this brought out Danny Garcia, the TNT champion, and Matt Menard and Angelo Parker. They sprinted to the ring to come to the aid of the Undisputed Kingdom, and they end up chasing off the Death Riders. And pretty much that was basically that. I forgot to mention, we had a backstage promo from Ricochet. Ricochet ended up saying, "I'm a winner. And when you're a winner, suddenly things don't matter. Like the fans who called me bald." He ended up saying, "You all went silent the moment my hand was raised because you knew I was the winner." He ended up saying Swerve had all the threats and insults. But again, none of that matters when you can't win. Ricochet ended up saying that he won, and he is moving on to bigger and better things. He ended up saying that this is a cruel, cold world, but luckily, your boy is staying warm in his new embassy robe. And of course, he let out the "ah-ha!" Yeah, this interpretation of Ricochet is absolutely fucking awful. They're making him look like a geek with him going "ah-ha!" And like I said in the Bell Call podcast with Noah, it was last week. When Ricochet is going "aha," I don't buy him as a heel. So he just comes off fucking goofy. Can we all say that the best interpretation of Ricochet was Prince Puma? That was the best interpretation of Ricochet, when he was known as Prince Puma. And then we saw Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir backstage. And Adam Copeland, or as AEW likes to call him, Copeland ended up hitting Moxley from behind, and Copeland and Jay White end up sending Marina Shafir into a room. And they end up shutting the door on Marina Shafir, and Copeland and Jay White end up holding the door, and they grab the briefcase that contained the AEW World Championship, which Moxley is keeping hostage. So we had Copeland and Jay White end up running off with the world title. Moxley and Shafir end up coming out of the room, and they end up going after Copeland and Jay White. And pretty much that was basically that. And then we saw MJF. He was backstage with Renee Paquette. She was interviewing MJF. MJF ended up saying that Texas isn't a real state, and Dustin isn't a real man. He ended up saying, "Dustin, tonight, I get down on your hands and knees and pray to the devil. No amount of paint on your face will hide your pain." So then MJF then got interrupted by Hangman Page. So Page was like out. So then MJF was like to Page, "Oh, I don't know what's going on. You got a crush on me, bud?" He kept saying, 4 weeks in a row, I watch you question yourself. MJF then told Page, "You lost your friend's insanity because you want an apology?" MJF ended up saying that if anyone deserves an apology around here, it's him, for the lack of respect. He ended up saying, "I'm going to beat Dustin Rhodes, and then I'm going to move one step closer to becoming a 2-time AEW World Champion." So that was pretty much that. That was what MJF had to say. And we had a awesome, brawl, which I'll get into later on, that involved MJF and Hangman and Page. And then we had Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata versus John Cruz, Aaron Solo, and Rosario Grillo. This was a squash match here. If you said Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata won the match, ding, 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 you win nothing. This was a squash match here. So, post-match, Samoa Joe came out. He got on the mic. He kept saying, week after week, we come out here and the world asks me what this is about. Joe ended up saying that the only answer is violence. He kept saying, what stands before you is 3 men who always have a problem, and we always beat your ass to solve it. Joe ended up saying that we will hunt you down in this ring, and you will be caught. He kept saying, this leads me to you, Christian Cage, and the patriarchy. Joe ended up saying that this could have been real simple between us, and you continue to hide from the ops. That's what Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata's group name is, Ops. So Joe ended up saying, since I can't drag you out of your dressing room and you're too much of a chicken ass to show up here tonight, I say next week on Dynamite, the patriarchy against the ops. So there you go. Samoa Joe calling out Christian Cage and the patriarchy. So we're going to see that next week on Dynamite, the patriarchy against the ops. So we'll see if that happens. And then we have Renee Paquette. She was backstage with Chris Jericho, the Ring of Honor World Champion, and Brian Keith. Of course, they're all from the Learning Tree, the most awful group in AEW. And Chris Jericho going, "Hi guys, bye guys." Awful. Fucking awful. And they're just shoving it down our throats every single week. So pretty much Jericho is in this feud with Bandito where he wants to put a bounty on Bandito for $100,000. So Jericho was like, I would have paid double or triple to get rid of Bandito. And Jericho was like, but watch and learn, Brian, because I challenge you, Bandito, to a showdown. So then Brian Keith ended up telling Renee Paquette to never embarrass him in front of Jericho again. So Brian Keith threatening Renee Paquette. And then as Dynamite came back for the commercial, we saw Renee Paquette. She was with Will Nightingale now. And Maria Shafir ended up coming in and she started kicking at Will Nightingale. Moxley then came in and ended up saying that Copeland is a dead man walking. So pretty much that was basically that. This whole Death Riders shit is just awful, in my opinion. So then we had Jericho. Jericho ended up coming out for the showdown between him and Bandito. So Bandito ended up coming out. He made his way down to the ring. The lights end up going down as both Bandito and Jericho stood face to face and then back to back. They end up walking to the corner of the ring. Both Bandito and Jericho end up taking their hats off. And Bandito ended up running to Jericho, but out of nowhere, Brian Keith ended up tripping up Bandito. And this led to Brian Keith and Jericho stomping down on Bandito. You had the Outrunners end up coming out to even the odds. The Outrunners, of course, are over with the crowd. They pop when they see the Outrunners come out. So then Big Bill came down. He had the wanted poster with Bandito on it that said wanted, $100,000 reward. So Big Bill ended up grabbing Bandito. He ended up going to chokeslam Bandito, but Powerhouse Will Hobbs ended up coming out. He made his way down to the ring. Hobbs nailed Big Bill. Bandito then ended up delivering a kick to Big Bill, and this allowed Hobbs to hit a spine buster to Big Bill. And pretty much that was basically how the segment ended. And of course, Tony Schiavone on commentary was like, there's no bounty collected tonight. So pretty much that was basically that. Bandito is now in this feud with Jericho and the Learning Tree. Do I care? No. And then we had Copeland and Jay White. They were backstage. They were holding the briefcase that contained the AEW World Championship that Moxley, of course, like I said, is holding hostage. And they're talking about their match at Grand Slam. Jay White ended up asking Moxley if he is missing something. Copeland ended up saying that he has held a briefcase a few times in his career. He ended up saying that if Moxley wants the briefcase back, he can just meet them in the ring at the end of the night. So pretty much that was that. And then as Dynamite came back from the commercial, we saw Renee Paquette. Renee Paquette was with Dustin Rhodes. And she was just talking to Dustin about his match against MJF. And Dustin ended up saying, MJF, I told you I was going to bring the devil. Well, he's here. And you're going to find out why I'm the last of my kind. So that was what Dustin had to say. Nice, face paint on Dustin Rhodes tonight. And then we went to the match. Dustin Rhodes versus MJF. And this match was presented commercial free. And this was a very good match here. And the crowd was into it. So the match got underway where both Dustin and MJF going face to face. MJF then ended up charging at Dustin. And MJF was met with a power slam from Dustin. And then Dustin started punching away at MJF. MJF then rolled out of the ring. Dustin ended up going after MJF and sending him back into the ring. MJF then crawled to the apron, but Dustin ended up grabbing him. MJF ended up stomping on Dustin's left arm. MJF then grabbed Dustin's left arm, and he started working on it. Dustin was up as he fought off MJF, and he then attempted a sunset flip to MJF. But MJF, of course, targeted Dustin's left arm again. MJF ended up grabbing Dustin's left arm and picked him up and slammed him down to the canvas. MJF then started jawing at the fans, typical MJF, just talking shit to the fans. MJF then ended up hitting Dustin in the back with his knee. He then ran the ropes and he delivered a knee to Dustin. So MJF then looked at the camera and I was laughing at this. He was blowing kisses, which was hilarious. Dustin ended up coming back and he ended up hitting MJF. But MJF ended up poking Dustin's eyes and he started choking Dustin out in the corner. MJF then ended up going to the second rope and he ended up nailing Dustin with some rights. And MJF then ended up mocking Dustin, Dustin's gold dust gimmick. Dustin then came back and he powerbombed MJF. So both guys were down. At this point, MJF got up. Dustin ended up running the ropes. And he then started punching MJF. And then he ended up kicking MJF. MJF then stumbled to the corner as Dustin was laying in some punches on MJF. Dustin then ended up bulldogging MJF as he was driven down face first, as MJF was driven down face first. Dustin then picked up MJF. MJF then started to fire back at Dustin. He started stomping on Dustin's elbow as he came off the second rope. We had Dustin end up delivering a crossroads on MJF. He ended up going for the cover, and MJF ended up kicking out. You had MJF end up driving Dustin down with a pile driver. He ended up going for the cover, and Dustin ended up kicking out. MJF then grabbed a chair, and he brought it into the ring. MJF then ended up putting Dustin's arm in the chair. The ref then took the chair out of the ring. So MJF was then caught in the ropes as Dustin ended up kicking MJF between his legs. And then he ended up hitting MJF with the final reckoning. Dustin ended up going for the cover, and MJF ended up kicking out. So MJF ended up picking up Dustin. He ended up dropping Dustin with the final reckoning. He ended up going for the cover, and Dustin ended up kicking out. So we had MJF end up pulling Dustin, and he applied a crossface. And it looked like at this point Dustin was going to tap, but he ended up making it to the ropes to break the hold. But MJF ended up pulling Dustin and applied the crossface, and Dustin was not responsible. He got passed out because of that. So the ref stopped the match, and MJF ended up winning it. Post-match, MJF chased the ref out of the ring. MJF then grabbed the left arm of Dustin, and he started wrenching Dustin's arm. Hangman and Page's music ended up hitting. And Page ended up making his way down. Page hit the ring, and both Page and MJF end up going face-to-face. Very good camera shot of the face-to-face between Page and MJF. It's, the thumbnail to my review here. So MJF backed away slowly with his arm up. MJF then turned and he charged at Page, and we got a brawl between both guys. Security ended up hitting the ring to pull both guys apart. MJF broke free and went after Page, but of course MJF was then held back by security. Page broke free of the security, and he ended up going after MJF, who rolled out of the ring. Page rolled out of the ring, and the fight between Page and MJF spilled into the crowd. Security tried to break up the fight between them, and the brawl ended up heading to the top of the floor, of the entryway. So security ended up holding back the both of them. Fans were chanting, "Let them fight." So security ended up getting Page down to, the main level as MJF ended up walking down the steps. What was funny was MJF then grabbed the beer from a fan and he tossed it on him, which was funny. MJF then ended up grabbing the mic and he ended up saying, "Hangman Page sucks, and he is a gutless coward, and is a loser like all the fans." He ended up saying, "Oh, well, he won't be coming back out here." But MJF spoke too soon because Page suddenly ended up running back out and he hit the ring and he ended up attacking MJF. And of course, security ended up in the ring to pull both guys back again. And that was basically that. But overall, this was a good segment here. It got my interest, for MJF versus Hangman and Page. And of course, next week on Dynamite, we're going to get, another face-to-face between them, which I'm really looking forward to. And the crowd was really interested in this. So very much looking forward to what they do with MJF and Hangman and Page. And as Dynamite came back from the commercial, we had a recap of the brawl between Page and MJF. And during the break, Page ended up hitting the buckshot lariat on a security guy. So we end up seeing that. And then we saw Megan Bayne. Megan Bayne ended up making her singles debut on Dynamite tonight. She ended up taking on Maya World. And of course, Megan Bayne ended up winning the match. Megan Bayne, I gotta say, she is very good in the ring as what we saw here. I liked how she ended up picking up Maya World and ended up dropping her with like a F5 maneuver. And she's very quick in the ring, Megan Bayne. So Megan Bayne picked up her first singles debut win. So then we had Kris Statlander end up coming out. Kris Statlander and Megan Bayne ended up doing a quick stare down, which teased a future match between the both of them. So Kris Statlander ended up taking on Penelope Ford, which this was a okay match here. Of course, Kris Statlander ended up getting the win on Penelope Ford. Post-match, Megan Bayne came back out. Penelope Ford ended up kicking Kris Statlander out of the ring, as Megan Bayne ended up picking Kris Statlander up, and she drove Statlander down to the floor. And pretty much that was basically that. Overall, okay match it was between Kris Statlander and Penelope Ford. Nothing, too big happened in the match. And then we got this video package with Harley Cameron teasing some words for Mercedes Moné. And it was just Harley Cameron, with her stupid puppet of Mercedes Moné. Absolutely awful. Every time I see Harley Cameron on TV, I roll my eyes. So Harley ended up saying that, Mercedes, you're one of the greatest wrestlers alive, but you had to start somewhere. Harley ended up saying, not too long ago, there was a time when I had no idea how to wrestle, or how to play guitar, or sing, but I guess I'm a quick learner. She kept saying, thank you for all the times you called me a loser, because it pushed me to work harder. And Harley ended up saying that she is going to win the TBS championship in her home country. And she told Mercedes to feel the rap. Obviously, Harley Cameron is not winning the TBS championship. If she wins the TBS championship in her home country, I will be surprised. But like I said, every time Harley Cameron is on TV and I see her, I just roll my eyes like, oh, great. We're going to see Harley Cameron and the stupid Mercedes Moné puppet that she walks around with. Main event. The Hurt Syndicate. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. They end up facing Austin and Colton Gunn. This is for the World Tag Team Championship. And this was a good match here between the Hurt Syndicate and the Guns. Of course, you had MVP accompanying Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. So Bobby Lashley and Colton Gunn start off the match. Both Lashley and Colton end up blocking up. Lashley ended up hitting Colton with a back elbow. Colton ended up leaping over Lashley and he ended up ducking the clothesline. But Lashley ended up running over Colton. Austin Gunn was then tagged in. Austin ended up putting Bobby Lashley in a headlock. But Lashley ended up picking Austin up and he sent Austin down. Austin then ended up running the ropes. But Lashley ended up catching Austin and tossed him over the ropes as he hit the floor. Shelton Benjamin then ended up sending Austin over the barricade. Austin was back over the barricade as Shelton Benjamin ended up tossing him into the ring. So then Dynamite went to commercial. Then when Dynamite came back from the commercial, Lashley and Austin were still in the ring. Austin ended up trying to go for the tag to Colton, but Lashley ended up stopping him. Austin broke free as he took down Shelton Benjamin. Lashley then grabbed Colton from the apron and sent him into the barricade. This led to both Shelton and Bobby Lashley double teaming up on Austin. But Austin was able to make the tag to Colton. Colton ended up taking down Shelton Benjamin and he ended up sending Bobby Lashley out to the floor. So at the end of the match, we had Colton was picked up by Lashley. He was dropped in the center of the ring. Lashley then connected on Colton Gunn with a spear. A crazy looking spear to Colton, which that allows Shelton Benjamin to go for the cover on Colton. And so there you go. The Hurt Syndicate end up winning the match, retaining the World Tag Team Championship. So post-match, we saw Brian Cage and Lance Archer. And they applauded the Hurt Syndicate for winning the match. And this is hinting that Lance Archer and Brian Cage will get a future shot at the World Tag Team Championship. And they will face the Hurt Syndicate. So, pretty much that was basically that. Overall, decent match it was with the Hurt Syndicate and the Guns. And then we got a vignette from Mariah May. Mariah May, she had some words for timeless Toni Storm, to which Toni Storm, she had her old gimmick when she returned, and what we saw on Collision on Saturday, she is now timeless Toni Storm again because she reunited with Luther. So Mariah May ended up saying, "You never did know how to write an ending, did you? You never know when to stop." She kept saying, "Being you in Australia, it's not the worst thing I can do. You are nothing without me." She kept saying that Toni Storm isn't real, and this stops now. So Mariah May was like, "I guess I really do love you, because this is going to be a mercy killing." So she had those words to say to timeless Toni Storm, and I'm like, why are we getting this match again? Why are we getting Mariah May and Toni Storm again for the women's title? Why? We did not need this. Obviously, Mariah May is going to retain the title. And then we saw Jay White and Adam Copeland. They came down to the ring. Copeland was, of course, carrying Moxley's briefcase with the AEW World Championship inside that he stole earlier in the night. So Copeland got on the mic. He kept saying, "Hear me out. The AEW World Championship has been hidden inside this briefcase for far too long." And he was like, "Y'all want to see it? I got an idea." So Copeland ended up retrieving a case from under the ring. And on the case it said Spike. So Copeland brought it into the ring, and Copeland was like, "I don't know if you remember Spike, but he's pretty hungry and wants to dig her teeth into that briefcase." So Copeland was like, "Moxley, if you don't get out here and accept my challenge for the AEW World Championship at Revolution, I'm going to smash this briefcase open and take the AEW World Championship." So Copeland was like, "Get out here and give me your answer." So Moxley then walked from the crowd to the ring, and Moxley was like, "You have no idea what kind of mistake you're making. You think I don't care? You don't know jack about it, Cope." He kept saying that these people don't know jack about it. Moxley kept saying, "I have left pieces of my soul in that ring for the AEW World Championship." He kept saying, "I am its protector." Moxley kept saying at Revolution, "I am going to break your neck, Copeland. You want your shot at the king? Well, you got it." So Copeland ended up taking Spike, and he started hammering away at the briefcase, trying to open up the briefcase and show the World Championship. But of course, we had the Death Riders. They ambushed Cope and Jay White in the ring. So Maria Shafir slipped into the ring and pulled the briefcase out. Jay White then blasted Claudio with the Blade Runner. Cope then speared Moxley. And Jay White ended up saying on the mic, "You've got Revolution. But before you get there, Grand Slam Australia, we'll put the Death Riders in the ground." So that was how Dynamite went off the air. So there you go. At Grand Slam Australia, we're going to get Jay White and Copeland versus the Death Riders. Any of them. Whether it be Pac, whether it be Claudio, or whether it be Wheeler Yuta that they face. So, but that was Dynamite tonight. Overall, decent show it was. But anyway, that's it for my review of tonight's Dynamite. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and be sure to join me for my next video, which I will be reviewing Captain America Brave New World. I am seeing it tomorrow night. Looking forward to it. And of course, there will be a review of it. So that'll be next. So until then, I'll see you all later.